Hello and welcome to the video. Today we'll be modding the Spb253J1, the night version. The case is from AliExpress and it's sold by several stores. I will put links of all the parts from the stores where I got them from, but similar parts can actually be found on with different sellers. For the case, for example, for the handsets, obviously for the movements, the cases where the dials where I've been getting them from lately for the mods that I've been doing, other than Proxima dials, are from DS Watch Mod Club store, which they're like San Martin of dials. They do a lot of really good dials. That's their dial. It's another one of their dials. They do sandstone and lapis lazuli and all kinds of stones, natural stones, and nice designs. Obviously the designs are replicas or homages of, not all of them, but many of the good ones. Examples are taken from the well-known brands. So today we'll be installing this coffee color birch textured dial. It is an imitation, but particularly I'm not really happy. This is from DS Watch Mod Club store, the same place where I get the dials, and I've seen reviews where people were not really happy about the orange loom on the minute hand. Is very weak. So this is blue loom BGW9 and this is C3, and both of them have for the minute hand have this orange coloring. This is MM300 style and this is the 62 mass style. I do prefer this, but I hope the store considers this in their future manufacturing. The minute hand practically has no loom. The rest is fine. The quality, brushing, polishing, everything is fine, but the orange hand might as well have no loom. This is 3 times more expensive, at least double the price of these handsets, while the orange handset on this one does have some loom, which is, I guess, usable. What I do have to point out for the this seller, DS Watch Mod Club store, was that I asked them to replace, when I made this purchase, I asked them to replace the second hand, because I don't really like the 62 mass second hand too much. I like these are called stoplight second hand, referred to as. And anyway, instead of replacing, they were nice enough to just throw one in there in addition with no extra charge, so thank you very much. But yeah, I won't be using these. Maybe I'll use the second hand and the hour hand because they are fine, but I'm sure I won't be using the orange hand. It has no loom, and for a dive watch and the one specialized for night diving, etc., etc., it just doesn't make sense. So that formula needs to change somehow, and I want to demonstrate that just so that I'm not, let's give it a little visual, make sure that these are visible. And let's give it a little blast. You can already tell that that is picking up and the other one is not. As I was saying, the blue loom is fine, but the orange one is just non-existent, whereas this second hand is much better. You can clearly see. So yeah, we'll be using this one for our build. That's a fully loomed dial, but I'll be popping that one off. And those seconds, or that handset is also quite nice, but it does not, it's a flat one, it doesn't have chamfering and different, yeah, I guess it's the camera is picking up too much lume from this dial. It does not, I mean, the initial burst is quite nice on this dial, but it does not stay on that long. Okay, let's turn the lights back on. Let's start the build. Okay. And so first thing we'll be doing is to pop off the handset. So you want to align them to minimize any possible damage. Slide the dial protector in. This is an easy one because the indices are printed, but when they're applied, watch out, make sure that you're not catching on to the applied indices and maybe moving them. All these are basic tools that if you're modding you can purchase from AliExpress. So it's not wanting to cooperate. The dial protector is also thick, but that's what you want to protect the dial. Anyway, they're off. Hopefully I won't be needing those tools anymore. Now the dial needs to come off. And also I have an NH35 with a blue loomed date wheel, but since this our coffee birch dial is green loom C3, we need C3 date wheel as well, so we will be modifying the movement. Let's get this dial off. First pin is in this location, and once you move it around a bit, that's enough. Switch the side and try to take it off as evenly as possible so you don't bend the legs. Resting there a while. And that should come off. And that's off. Now I need to unscrew these 4 screws, take this plate off, then the date wheel will come off and we will replace it. So first let's move the dial out. Also those hands, I want to protect those hands. Let's place them here temporarily. a very thin screwdriver to take that off without damaging or stripping the screw. Very thin one. It's thick. Came off, and the last one. This one screwdriver has just enough magnetic force to pick up these tiny screws, but not enough to mess up my spring on the main, not the main spring, the spring on the balance wheel. Almost lost that one. Okay, so now I need to lift this plate carefully. There we go. Rodico is your friend when you're working with this stuff. So now we take off the date wheel. That plate was holding it. Down. Take off. Oh, that's off. So if you see, this guy popped off, and I'm going to need to put it back in, but for now let's move it aside and put this plate back in first. So I had to do a little work off camera, but anyway, when we slide the date wheel on, this lever here needs to be pushed slightly back, held in, you drop the date wheel in, and then you move this back, and that's the click spring mechanism. This little white star goes into here, and it's the same mechanism that changes the GMT hand on the new version of the NH34. So this slides back and forth. On your coast position, it doesn't do anything, and when it is active, it switches the date wheel. So an easy way to align this disc now is to look at your screw holes. I'll explain. So there is one screw hole and another one here, and this is a directional pin, and here is another one. So one screw hole, second screw hole, and then the pin goes in here. So we know that we need to put it on this way. We use our friend Rodico, and gently right there. Right there. put the screws in and test, make sure everything works properly. It's always fiddly to do this. It takes a steady hand. This is what takes most of the time when you're doing such things. Sleeve and detail work. But once the first screw goes in, it makes life much easier because this plate doesn't jump around anymore. Give it some downward pressure and twist it to make sure that it goes in well. So I'll put another screw in here now and test to be sure. All the wheels and levers are operating correctly. Two screws are in on the opposite sides. That holds down. Yep. The date is switching. We've got our post position, as I said. If you can see this white wheel right under here. See that one? It moves around. This way it's in the ghost position, and you twist it the other way, it goes towards the date wheel and it switches the date. Okay, so we're all good. I'll screw the other two back in. So all four down. Test again. Yeah. We're switching. Everything's working fine. Let's check the movement. And now we'll put yep, it's going fine. So now we need to prepare the dial. We will have two extra pins that need to be removed. I think it will go as planned. I need to take off this pin always put your finger on top of it when you're snipping it off, because it may fly away. It could fly into your eye, and or it could fly into your movement. So that goes there, and this one I need to take off. And that way it just stays in here, and you can throw it off. And luckily I have good snips. By the way, the stems for the winding stems already damaged two snippets that I had, clippers, and this is supposed to be the good one, the original, made in Italy and everything. And this is just cheap AliExpress, but if you look at both of their jaws are all chewed up, you see. So this time I'll just use my Dremel with the cutting disc and cut off the stem instead of damaging my one good clipper that I have left. So it's quite common for these legs to be bent off, and it won't go in this way. It has to be very exact. So laterally, vertically, horizontally, whatever you want to call it, you want to make sure that the angles are right angles towards the dial, so that it slides into its slots correctly. And be very careful with this. The legs are very delicate and they could pop off, like break off. And then you gotta deal with dial dots, and that's another headache. This one seems to be alright. That one's easy. Obviously you do not want to be touching the dial with your bare hands, because you will gunk it up and it's very difficult to clean off. And never use alcohol or any type of anything basically other than Rodico, and even with that you have to be very careful not to chip off any paint. So dials are very delicate, be very careful. Okay, now we're good to go with the handset. We're making good progress here. Open it carefully. So I need to cut here. There we go. And open carefully so it doesn't fly all over the place. I really like these protection boxes for this is the second one that I got the handsets in. This is from Heimdallr, I believe. They're reusable, and you can see the handset clearly without taking it out. Easy to access. Whoever thought of this, good idea. Now, as most of you probably know, we need to find the date change place where that happens to set our hour hand. Okay, bam, right there. So now we need, this is, I found this to be better than the push down tool for setting the hands. And for the GMT, I custom made my own by drilling a wider hole here. So I guess I have 4 now. And for the hour hand, we need the black widest hole. This one. Protocol again. Set the hour hand at 12 o'clock exactly. Push down once we're sure that it is where it needs to be. There. And so what we need to do is there's a plate that we need to align. Right now there's a gap, so the hour hand needs to be pushed down farther so that it is even with that lower plate. It's always better to do this gradually and not at once, and check frequently that you are pressing it down evenly. Also, if you press too hard, you may deform the handset, the hands, and there's no coming back from that. Check, make sure before you set your minute hand, while the hour hand is at 6 o'clock. Sure, nothing's touching. Now I'll clean off the hour hand from any smudges that the tool may have left, because I won't be able to do this after the minute hand is installed. It'll be in the way. Okay. You know what? I actually prefer to install it exactly when both are at 12 o'clock, and that is because when both of the hands are, one above the other, is the best way to get your exact setting. Otherwise, your hour hand may be at 6 o'clock exactly, you may think, and then your minute hand also at 12 exactly, but then when both of them are at 12 you see a slight misalignment. So that's what I try to avoid by doing it this way. So right now that seems okay. Now we turn over to the grid. Right there. Always be careful not to damage the middle stem for the second spring. Okay, now I felt it going. So, before I push down and start straightening it out, straightening it out, let's test again. Now it's important because we did it right there. second hand is probably the most difficult because of its size. To avoid that, what you can do is just stick the pin in the rodicle. That way it won't follow. And I would say this is the hardest one to set. Push it down. And check laterally. So you can send this slightly up on the tip. So you can push it down. Just a little bit, and what you can use for that also is your towel and gently any plastic pens. That's almost it. Now we'll pop this into the case. And all is left is to cut the stem, size it, cut it. This is what I use to slide the movements in. Now, rotate. Take the stem out. Put it on top, that way, this side, rotate again, there we go. Now, because this is elevated, I can slide it into the watch case. handset in slightly, and we turn it over and align the stem hole. Make sure that it is going in correctly. I need to move it a little bit that way. There we go. Came out quite nice. And there's a protective film on this. I'll take it off after we're done. So now comes the dreadful cutting the stem part. So no Loctite yet. We don't need any of that before we cut the stem. Be careful with the initial couple of turns. So you can get this for really cheap on AliExpress. Couple of bucks. In and you crank it down and it holds your stem. That's the second one. Use that, I think that will hold it better on this triangle part. And it moved around on the other one. Now we can take our measurement by installing the stem. We do that by rotating, going it like that. So now we're winding the movement. So now the place to cut the stem and how to measure it is we need to, obviously the stems, the crowns, sorry, have this spring, and so we want that to be right before the thread. So we measure from this edge to the edge of this hole, the threaded hole, and that in our case, if we zero, that is 5.8, so we will cut 5.6. We need to shorten it by 5.6. That way we will do that. Move this out, keep it. So we said 5.6. There we go. Take this off quickly. And take the measurement. Need this. I'll make this cut in another room. I'm using a Dremel tool to do this, and clearly I need to do it elsewhere, not here. And I'll be back. I made the cut. You might need a little bit of adjustment, taking maybe half a mil off, but it's always better to leave more on and taking it off slowly rather than all at once, because you can never go back size wise, length wise. So a moment of truth. Here we are winding, and if we push down, yep, and we're all the way perfect. Let's see the pop. Yep, nice pop. That seems to be just right, meaning we can put some Loctite on it. And pop it back out one last time. I use blue Loctite for such things. There's also the red, but the red is supposed to be more of a permanent compound, or I guess stronger than the blue Loctite. Nothing is permanent. So I put a little blue Loctite on it. And when you do that, it's always good to thread it in and out a couple of times, and it helps spread the liquid on the internal, on the female side of the thread better. That should be good. I will now try it off. Paper towel. Dry the excess off. And we can now install a winding crown, winding stem. That's good. Put some silicone grease on the rubber gasket, and that is not only to increase, or I guess ensure, your water resistance, but what this does also is when we're screwing down the case back, it protects this rubber. It allows the metal to slide against the rubber, and it doesn't squish it around as it would without the grease. Always make sure to place this in its channel fully, again to avoid any squishing and damaging, because if it is not put in correctly and screwed down evenly, you will have gaps and the watch will not be water resistant. There we go. All working. that's good. So we just need to install the bezel, and it's our bezel. Now that the mechanism is closed off, I can take the rubber finger gloves off. I should also now take off this protective film, because that may get in the way of installing the bezel correctly. Okay, this is another fiddly part. That came off quite well. And now once I put this on, there's no going back, and so I usually pry something underneath on the lower side, like that. There we go. Exactamundo. Perfect. This came out exactly as I expected, exactly my vision of what I wanted it to be. I think it is beautiful. One last touch is to put this on the Lumed bracelet, similar to the one build that I did on the stainless steel, the silver color. I used the Lumed bracelet on there as well. Very happy with it. Because of this female end links, it just looks so much better. There's some Scotch tape glue stuck on there. Now that side goes low. The fit is very tight, so by now I've mastered doing it, but you have to, there's only one way basically that it will go in. And it has to be gradual, both sides at the same time, like that. It has to be gradual and simultaneous. You cannot push down one side. There we go, both are in. Now you will notice that the case is PVD black, PVD coated black, and the bracelet from Lumed is gunmetal. I didn't know that when I was ordering, so there is a slight mismatch in the colors, but I think it looks okay. And I have on the way FKM rubber, orange rubber strap, so that's another thing that I will be trying on this watch. So now let's see how it looks on the wrist. The bracelet is already sized up to my wrist. It is quite nice, quite happy with it. And as I said, the bracelet, very happy. Now if they have an option of on the fly adjust, Lumed You can get it from the San Martin factory. This right here, you don't even have to do any adjustment. It is the same exact sizing on both sides, and you can do it yourself, I guess. You can mod it very easy. It's pin and collar system, but only on the stainless steel. It won't work on the gunmetal. So Tokai Lab can order a batch of the gunmetal or black. Beautiful, very happy. A cool little trick I learned off of YouTube. Pre-bending your rubber straps. I place it in here, that way when I wear, see, it's already pre-bent and way more comfortable than just regular wear. Okay, so this came on a quick release pin system, which I popped off and placed the thick Seiko style spring bars in there, because I only use this strap on my MM200, MM300 or the 62 mass. So all our Seikos all use fed bars, fed spring bars. So this is how it would look on a rubber strap. Both beautiful, very comfortable. As I said, this just conforms to my wrist. I barely feel the watches on the wrist. Very nice, very happy with the build. The next build, we will be doing a Marine Master 200 on SM Stone dial. This case, this is the Thorn from AliExpress. It's the Thorn MM200 case. A very good one, probably the best MM200 case on AliExpress, and better than the other alternatives such as this one, this case. I'll go into that. So if you liked the content and you would like to see more, please subscribe, share the video, and we will be rewarding you with more interesting content.